Well, if you're using AI in your business right now and you haven't thought about legal compliance, privacy, or intellectual property, this conversation could save you an expensive mistake. And more importantly, it could help you scale with confidence, not chaos. Welcome to the Global Cash Summit. I'm Cassandra Bourne, founder of Bourne Global Enterprises, Inc., and host of the Global Cash Summit. And today's interview is one of those conversations that is both timely and necessary. My guest is Shevelle McPherson, Esquire. Shevelle is an attorney, business strategist, international speaker, and best-selling author who has become one of the most trusted voices at the intersection of AI, business growth, and legal protection. What I love about Shevelle is this. She doesn't teach fear. She teaches structure. She teaches how to use innovation to grow without exposing your brand, your clients, or your intellectual property. And if you're building anything online, a coaching business, a course, an agency, a consulting practice, a brand, you need this lens. Because the truth is, you can absolutely scale with AI, but you cannot scale chaos. Structure creates freedom. Shevelle, welcome. I'm genuinely happy that you are here.
I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me. This is one of my favorite topics, and so I just enjoy it, and I am honored to be a part of this.
Wonderful. So before we dive in, a quick note for everyone watching. This conversation is for educational and informational. It's not legal advice. What we're giving you today is clarity, direction, and smarter questions to ask so you can protect what you're building as you scale. All right, let's get into it. Shevelle, you have one of those journeys that instantly explains why you do what you do. Take us back for a moment. What was the path from law into this work that you do now? AI strategy, business growth, and legal protection for entrepreneurs.
So I'll be so happy to share. It's been a very interesting journey, not an intended journey, but a very purposeful journey. I started my career off as a prosecutor, and I was going to court every day representing victims of the city of Philadelphia. And then after about 5 years, I went into private practice. I started my own firm. And like most people, you start your own business because you want the freedom, the flexibility. Well, not. That's not what I got. I actually got more work. So I was literally representing clients all over different states, different courthouses, and it became literally like a rat race for me. I enjoyed the work, but I was burning out fast. So I decided like I have to do something, but I wasn't sure. Like most people, when you're trying to pivot, you're trying to figure it out. So what I did do was I started a passion project, which was just writing my book. And I wrote my book, my first book, which was about my life, about my journey, because I was a teenage mom turned trial attorney. And so a lot that resonated with a lot of women, a lot of events. So I started being asked to speak at different events. And as I was speaking to different women and sharing my story about how I was a prosecutor, and then I started my law practice, which expanded into three different locations in the first year, and how I scaled it, and then started talking about protection, they were more interested in how I scaled it over the protection. So I started a side hustle coaching business, literally helping women entrepreneurs, I always say women entrepreneurs and a few good men, grow and scale their businesses. But because I am a trained attorney, I would not have been able to leave out the legal part. So they wanted the growth and the scale, but I had to give them, I sold them into what they wanted because but I had to give them what they really needed, which was the legal foundation to make that business solid. Because there's no sense of what I say, building a beautiful, luxurious home on quicksand. And that's how it is with your legal basis. If you don't have a solid platform, I don't care how big it becomes, how much you scale it, it's going to ultimately crash because you don't have a solid foundation. So I started doing that literally the first year of that business as a side hustle. It went to like six figures in less than 12 months. So now I'm speaking and I'm doing all the things and life is great. So I start to transition more into doing this because now I have more of a freedom lifestyle business, right? But I'm also doing what I love. Fast forward ahead, I'm speaking at different events and I'm teaching people, entrepreneurs, how to get what I call legally bossed up in business. And suddenly, a few years ago, AI enters the picture, right? And so now I had written books about how to legally get bossed up. I had done courses, all these things, and AI came out, and I was like, "Whoa, wait, pump the brakes! I don't like AI." Right? That was my initial response. Most people responded because we didn't know what it was, and I thought, "Wow, this is really unsafe," because now we're putting, like I was protecting my entrepreneurs from their clients and their vendors, and now it's like I gotta protect you from the world because like this data is like everywhere, right? And it's super fast. It's at your fingertips. So I had to I had to learn it because I said, okay, it's not going anywhere. So maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, before this big AI revolution, I actually had a mini course, and it was about AI, and it was teaching entrepreneurs how to use it in an effective way. And again, I wasn't really a fan of it, but I had to teach it. So fast forward to as of now, not only am I teaching how to protect yourself, I am teaching the tools. Like I use the tools. I love the tools. I'm embracing the tools. I become like an expert in like AI and like cloning yourself and workflows and all the things. Because besides this, I'm a marketer. If you're in business, you're a marketer, right? So I've been a marketer and I've been an attorney and I've been a business owner. And so now, because of all of my personal experience, I've been able to pull this all together and create my own frameworks where I'm now able to teach entrepreneurs, business owners, how to use AI in a legally legit way that allows you to grow and scale much faster than you would on your own, but without the legal landmines.
Oh, this is so good. AI isn't just a productivity tool, it is a leverage tool, and leverage without legal structure can create risk. So let's name the real issue. So most entrepreneurs are using AI for content, for emails, contracts, client communication, SOPs, marketing, and they're moving fast. What are the top legal or compliance blind spots that you're seeing right now with everyday AI use?
So the top blind spots that I see, entrepreneurs are so excited about AI, and they're going into chat and all these different platforms. The first thing that I see is they're just jumping in, and they're not even protecting themselves before using. So I have this STAR method where I take my clients through, and the first thing that we do is the essence for securing your models, right? So before you even start jumping into AI, especially as an attorney and someone who uses it, and I'm into compliance as part of my business DNA at this point, you have to make sure that you're using it in a safe way, that you're securing these models to make sure that your data isn't, all over the place, that they're not like repurposing your data. You also want to make sure, when I talk about safety, there's a few things. That's the first one, but the other thing is you want to make sure you're not putting information, confidential information. There was this when AI first came out. There's like several scary stories, but when it first came out, I remember I think it was Samsung or one of the companies, they had a board meeting and then they took the notes, like you might have like your fireflies or something taking notes, and they put the notes into chat to sort of give it to create a memo to pass out to everyone about, like you would give out meeting notes to your speakers. It was about giving out notes, but it was confidential data. It was, secret business practices. It was all these things, compliance things. And it was when they realized that they put it out into this machine called AI, that it could be accessed not just by Samsung, the company, but by everyone. They tried to contact chat. It was like, oh, we need you to take that down. And like, we can't take something out of the atmosphere. Like we can't pull something from the air because it's out there. So that's the main concern for me, is once it's out there, it's out there. So we have to make sure that we put measures in place when we're using all these different tools to make sure that you're not putting information out there that's private, that's confidential, that involves intellectual property of others, right? That's the other thing, infringing. And just making sure overall that you are using this powerful engine, but in a safe, compliant way.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, I mean, people have their blind spots, right? Not to
Yes.
scare people, but to help them to understand what it looks like in day-to-day business. What are people doing that feels normal but is actually risky?
Oh my goodness. The main thing that people are doing, because I see it with my clients all the time until now, because I have built some personal GPTs so they can go in. They know before they even use it, they usually go through my GPTs. But the main thing that people are excited about, they're excited about the fact that you can go in AI and you can um, get answers to any it's not Google, it's not, you can talk to it in natural language, you can talk to it, it's like your business bestie, right? And so you can say, oh, I want to create, this blog, can you write me this blog, can you give me a title, or I want to create a course, can you outline the course, can you give me a title of the course? Well, me as an intellectual property attorney, the first thing that jumps out is the this course that you're creating, is this content that is, but that may belong to someone else, right? Because you're not the only person create a course. Particularly the name of the course. Is that someone's intellectual property? Or because the thing is, chat can give you something. It may not be the exact name of someone's course, but if your business is Global Cash, right? And then chat tells me, oh, the title of this should be, like International Cash Summit. Well, is that close enough to be confused with your brand? Right, because now we're crossing into intellectual property. So the main thing that I see is going into these tools and asking it to create data, I'm asking it to create content and names and books and all these things without having some way of checking yourself to make sure that you're not infringing upon someone else's intellectual property, because chat's not going to tell you that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is important for everyone to hear. You don't need to stop using AI. You just need to use it like a CEO. You need to have those standards in place. You need to have that protection in place. So let's make it practical. If someone is listening right now and thinking, okay, I want to scale with AI, but I want to stay protected, what does a legally legit approach actually mean? So what are the pillars, the non-negotiables that you want to have in place?
So the non-negotiables when you're using AI or these various tools, the non-negotiables is the first thing is making sure that you are not sharing your information, allowing them to like repurpose your information. So you want to go into your privacy settings and make sure that you turn off all those things that will cause your data to be shared. That's the first thing that I tell everyone to do. That now gives you more of a safer a safer space to sort of play in. Okay. I personally recommend like GPTs. I've created some for my clients, but if you don't have access to GPTs, then the first thing is to do is to sort of create a box for yourself, your content, your information. Okay. So you want to make it safe. The next thing that you want to do, again, I created a GPT, but if you don't have a GPT, I tell my clients, they'll go into chat and they'll go through one of my GPTs. I have one for like copyright, trademark. And when they come up with a name, they'll run it through and my GPT will actually do a search. If you don't have that, no worries. You can still do the same thing. But instead of going through a GPT, what I would recommend is before you decide to use a name for your course or your book or a title, anything like that, go to uspto.gov. It's the trademark site. Put it in the search. Do a quick search just to make sure that that name isn't owned by someone else. Right? That's the next thing that you want to do. You can do the same thing with your images. You can take the images that it creates for you before putting it out there and go and search, because the trademark has a database of different photos and images that are trademark protected. So you want to make sure that the images that you're going to use obviously don't belong to someone else or can be confused with an image that belongs to someone else.
Mm,
Okay.
yep.
So basically it's called due diligence. It's due diligence. You have to make sure that what you are using is usable in the eyes of the law. And what I mean by that is I don't want to use something where some other entrepreneur business owner is now going to send me a cease and desist letter, right? Saying you're infringing upon, because that's a whole nother avenue of expenses and headaches that you just don't want to have. So
Absolutely.
due
Absolutely.
diligence is the key. AI is awesome. I just want to say this to everyone. It's awesome. I use it every day, several times a day in my business. But I also know how to use it with legal guardrails, right? And so for you, I want you to understand the most important legal guardrail you can put in your business is due diligence. Checking the sources of what the information that it gives you, whether going through a trademark search, whether doing a Google search of it. You don't just want to use it like, oh, it gave it to me, so it's okay. One quick story I'll share with you is when it first came out, there was an attorney. It's an attorney in New York. Chat came out and they said, "Oh my God, this is great. This can write a brief for me." Well, the other thing you have to be careful about, AI can hallucinate, meaning it can confuse some things if you don't clear your chat. That's another thing that I teach my clients, right? So you have to make sure you're clearing some of these old chats because it can start to hallucinate. It's also not always accurate, right? It can make mistakes because it's pulling things from all over. So it could make a mistake. Well, this law firm in New York, when it first came out, they had to write a brief. So they told chat to write the brief. Well, the problem is because I use it to do the same thing, but the problem is they didn't check. Remember, they didn't do due diligence. At the time, AI was fairly new. It wasn't so accurate, and every case that they cited was non-existent. It was non-existent. Every case they cited. These lawyers ran into ethical issues. They were disciplined. They were sanctioned by the court, and it became a public thing. So at the end of the day, you don't want attorneys were making mistakes in the beginning. So I'm sure entrepreneurs will too, because people get so excited about this tool because it can do so much. Trust me, I've been at conferences where I get a call from a judge. It's like, "Oh, I need you to submit this right away." And I'm on my computer in 15 minutes, I'm submitting it. But I'm doing due diligence. I have AI draft whatever it is that I need. And then as an attorney, I have an attorney eye for things. I make sure the cases, if the cases are cited, I check to make sure that they're valid, that it's on point. So AI can make your life easier, but remember, it cannot replace you.
Right.
This is the fear that everyone has with AI. They think, "Oh, it's going to take my job." It cannot take your job. You know why? Because it's not human. It will never be human. What it can do is it can elevate your life, it can accelerate your growth, it can enhance your production, it can make your business more efficient. But you are the human brain behind it. And it's your responsibility to make sure that the speed of the document that it gives you is accurate.
Yeah. So
That's it.
I'd love for you to walk us through your method or your framework in a simple way. Now, you had mentioned your STAR method. You started at the
Yes.
S, or
Yes.
the way you teach entrepreneurs to evaluate their tools and prompts. Can you break it down to someone can start applying it today?
Yeah, absolutely. So my STAR method is I go into depth with it, but for purposes of brevity, but just to give you a takeaway where you can go and start doing this. The first thing is, like I said, you want to make sure the S is for safety. You want to make sure that you're always using it in a safe way. What does that mean for you today? The first thing is, like I said, make sure that you're making sure that your privacy settings are not allowing these models to use your data. That's the first thing. All of them. You can go in your settings and you can do that. The next thing, as far as safety is concerned, I also just explained. Make sure that you are checking what you get out. Make sure that you're not just taking this and you're just putting it out there. Due diligence is important, especially as a business owner. So you want to make sure if you're going to use a name, if you're going to use an image, go to uspto.gov. It's the trademark site. Do a quick search of the name of the image. Just make sure that no one's using it. That's the next thing. So that's pretty much the S. There's a lot of more things I do, but those are the key things that you can do right now. Okay. The next thing is I always say I teach my clients how to train the model. So chat, Claude, Perplexity, all of these different tools will give you a lot of generic robotic responses, right? Now, this ties back into the safety mechanism because if you're going to create a book, if you're going to create something that you want to actually own the intellectual property, this can be, I'm going to try to make this short. The Copyright Office does not allow you to register things that are created by like third parties. So if you create content, let's just say you wrote a book with AI and you go to publish it, and Amazon picks up that it's computer generated. It may not publish. It may not public. It may not allow you to put it on there. The Copyright Office definitely won't let you publish it. But if you train your AI, give it some information about you, about what you do, who you serve, what your vision, your mission, all these things. If you put this in and you tell it, this is my DNA, right? And when you're creating content for me, write it in my voice, write it in my DNA. So I take my clients through a whole process of how we do it. But for brevity, and so for now, The main thing you can do is give it information about you so that all the content it creates represents you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the next thing, right? So you want to make sure you're training these models. The other thing is ask. Once you secure it, once you train it, now because most people just run and start doing the ask, right? It's almost like prayer. We run to God or we run to whoever when we're in trouble, we need help, 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 help. But you want to set some boundaries up before you ask, right? And you also want to ask with specificity and clarity.
Mm.
If you ask and you do garbage in, garbage out,
Right.
right? So if you don't prompt it in a good way, it's not going to give you a good result. So what I usually say is, first of all, you can go into your with chat. I use chat GPT a lot. AI, chat AI. And what you can do is you can go and you can change it. I don't know if people know. You can, it's instant thinking and then it's a longer thinking. So depending on what you want, you can get it to think longer because it will give you a more thorough result. But also when you prompt it, I always say when you prompt it, you should be prompting it with giving it clarity. Like I always give it an identity. You are an attorney, right? So now it's an attorney. I need you to create a legal brief. So I gave it a goal, right? So I gave it an identity, I gave it a goal. Now, those are the main two things, identity and goal. And now who is it for? This is for an insurance adjuster. This is for the judge. This is for an adversary. This is for a client. Because if you don't really tell it like who it's for, then it still could, remember, we want to be as clear as possible, right? And then you want to say, so now you can say, you can ask it to do the thing that you want it to do because you had it go into a role, you gave it a goal, and you gave it an identity of who it's for, and now you can ask it to give you the result, right? That's a quick way. Again, I go much deeper into that, but that will get you there and to at least being able to ask it in a way that's going to give you a really good result.
Right.
The last one is R. R is really important. R is just refining. Because, like I said, just because chat gives you a response doesn't mean you have to accept the response, especially when it comes to photos. So when I'm teaching, I have this, when it comes to cloning, I have this whole vibe method where I teach my clients, and this is how you clone yourself because you have to clone really briefly, just to put this in perspective. You have to clone, like, you want to clone like your brain, you want to clone your people think of cloning and it's about cloning your brain so it knows how to think, cloning your image, cloning your voice, and then cloning like your video. So those are main. So I have this whole vibe thing, but in the interest of time, the thing is refinement, especially when you're creating a clone. So if you put a picture in and you give it this great prompt and it doesn't come out great, you don't have to accept it. You can go, make that better or change, my shoes or change this position. The same thing with content. You can say, this is great. I love this response, but I need you to make this a little bit more emotional. Or I need you to make this more inviting. Or I need you to make this more calm. Or I need you to, picture this scene. So it's just going back and forth because chat is very smart, but it's only as smart as the prompt. Mm-hmm. Right? So if the prompt isn't great, no frets, right? If you're on the ask part and it's not your result doesn't come out the way you want, no problem. That's what the R is for. We're just going to keep refining it until we get what we want. So if you use that method, then there's no way you can go wrong using AI.
Amazing. So I want to connect this to cash because this is the Global Cash Summit and we're here to talk about scalable growth. So how does legal compliance and smart AI implementation affect revenue, risk, brand trust, and even the valuation of a business?
Oh my God, that's a good question. It's pretty loaded. So this is how I'm gonna respond in a way that I think is most valuable.
Wonderful.
AI can accelerate your income, but the goal is to protect your profit, right? That's the goal. And so the way that it can, first of all, that goes back to my whole vibe. My whole vibe thing is all about the brain, right? Because when you use AI, you want to make sure that it's thinking like you. You want to make sure that if you're putting images out there that they look like you, if you're putting videos out there that they sound like you, right? So that can make your brand, like, it can just skyrocket your brand. Because imagine, for instance, if you have a clone, right? You create a clone And now your clone can go post on social media. You can set up content to go out for maybe like say 30 days of content. You can put it on autopilot. So now, like I'll give you an example. This is an example. My sister, we had a situation in the family. My sister wrote a planner. She created a planner, but she didn't. Basically, I showed up to go check on her to see if she was okay, and her planner came out. And I said, oh, wow. She gave me a copy. And I said, wow, how's the promotion of the planning going? Right. Because you got to promote it. We're a business owner. She said, oh, I didn't feel like, getting dressed and doing my hair. All the things that especially as women have to do when we want to go promote ourselves. We got to get our hair done, our makeup done. We got to do all this showing up. And so she said, maybe tomorrow because I'm not feeling like it today. Completely understandable. So I said to her, I'm like the AI like geek, right? I said, send me a picture. Text me a picture of you. So she texted me a picture. She's just sitting at a coffee shop. And I literally went and created this video for her. I created an AI clone. I used my bot method. I created an AI clone in her likeness. And I sent it to her. I said, do you like? She said, oh my God, I love it. I put it out on social media. I put it on my social media. I said, just post this, put it out there. On my social media, she got 5 sales. Okay, 5 sales. That's just an example. So I don't teach this stuff because of just, this is fluff and this is cute. I teach this stuff because it's profitable. I teach this stuff because it can really, just think about it. You got to promote your business. We have to promote our business every day, but there's only one of us, right? So if you want to put yourself out there without having to really always physically put yourself out there, you got to step into AI. I created a video. I created some branded videos for my sister. I created it for like my son, and they're getting sales. And they just sent me a picture, and I'm able to go in and just create these things for them that they can go put out on their social media, right? So what AI can do for you is it can allow you to replicate yourself without you having to do all the work that you would normally do. Mm-hmm. AI can show up for you on social media. AI can do marketing. AI can email your list. AI can create books. AI can create blogs. AI can create presentations, right? AI, there's tools out here where you can create a PowerPoint presentation in like 5 seconds. AI can create, I created a website. You don't need to code. You don't need to be technical. So if you need a website for your brand right now and you're thinking, oh my God, I don't have $3,000, I don't have $5,000. Well, guess what? You don't need it. All you probably need is $20 to get onto a tool that will create it for you. Mm-hmm. So if you are in business and you are looking to accelerate your process, be efficient, be omnipresent, without doing hair, without doing makeup, without being on camera, without showing up physically all the time, tiring yourself out. AI is definitely a brand elevator. It's an income accelerator. And if you position it right, it is a profit protector. Okay? If you put the measures in place. So if you can accelerate your income, right? Before AI, I was teaching how to get legally bossed up, and it was all about accelerating your income and protecting your profit. Now I'm just teaching the same thing. It's accelerating your income and protecting your profit in the AI revolution. And this is a great time to be an entrepreneur.
So if someone wants to clean up their AI usage this week in a way that's realistic, what are 3 CEO moves that they can make right now?
Go into their AI settings and make sure that they're not like sharing their data and making sure things are, being repurposed. That's the first thing. The second thing is if you're in business, you should also be you should have contracts. You should have legal things in place when you're dealing. Look at your contracts. I have a contract template site. I had to update everything. You may be operating with outdated templates. So I want you to get safe with AI, but I also want you to get safe outside of AI in the age of AI. So look at your contracts and look and make sure that you have provisions in there that allow, say you're a coach and you have a client or you're coaching with someone. Can they put your data? What data can they put inside of their AI, right? What are the privacy provisions in your legal agreements? How are you dealing with these vendors? If you're creating these things, like I said, I'm creating content for people that I know. Who owns that content? So now is a great time to review your legal documents, to review your privacy policy. So if you want to take anything away from this today, the first thing is make sure that your tools are safe. Check your privacy. The second thing is check your contracts. Make sure that you have AI provisions in there that are protecting your data, especially if you're doing coaching, consultings, and things of that nature. You want to make sure you're doing that. And the third thing is to make sure at the end of the day that you are using due diligence. Meaning, when you go onto these tools, I want you to go on. I want you to create content. I want you to have it write your emails. I want you to have to do all the things. But make sure you're not infringing upon anybody's brand. Make sure you're going to the trademark site. You're checking out, these logos, these taglines, these photos before you put it into use. So those are the top 3 things that you can do right now as soon as you get off of this interview. As soon as you start watching it, you can go do that right away.
So great. So, for the people who are thinking, I need this level of structure, who do you serve best? Like, what types of businesses and leaders get the biggest results from working with you?
So I work with business owners and entrepreneurs. Typically, my clients are coaches, consultants, attorneys, what I would say service-based professionals. Typically, my clients that I serve the best.
Wonderful, wonderful. And then if someone goes deeper with you, what changes for them? Like, what do they start doing differently after they've been in your world?
Oh, oh my God. So right now, I have a legally bossed up VIP group. And it's amazing because what I actually did when I realized that so many people were wanted to use AI, some people were scared to use AI, people didn't know how to use it, and all of that. Because I always had a membership, but now I upgraded it and I made it legally bossed up. Instead of legally bossed up VIP, it's now legally bossed up VIP in the age of AI. It's AI powered, right? So right now before I used to come on and I used to talk about a lot of the different safeguards, but now a lot of it is AI driven. And so what I did was I had all of my students. I sent a survey out before I transitioned into focusing on predominantly AI. I sent a survey out and I asked a series of questions to see where they are before even getting any training from me, any training. And then I'm looking now at where they are, and it's amazing. So when my clients work with me, they go from not knowing how to use AI or rarely using AI to literally implementing it into their daily regimen, like not being able to function daily without going on AI for something. Because if you're in business, you're doing some business move every day. That business move is somehow AI can make that business move better. So my clients are now able to confidently go on AI in a safe way. So they're able to make sure that AI is safe. They're able to get more efficient results in whatever that business project that they were working on is done. So they're able to use AI, and able to be more efficient. They're able to show up on social media regularly without showing up on social media, right? They're able to engage with their clients. They're able to put their nurture sequence, their follow sequences. They're able to put these things on autopilot. So when my clients work with me, and especially in with AI, their business becomes what I call more bossed up.
Mm,
It
love
becomes
that.
more bossed up. It becomes more, they become bossed up CEOs. And what does that mean to be a bossed up CEO? What that means is you are operating a business that is legally protected. You're operating a business as a CEO. So you're not running around doing the same routine things all the time because we put things on autopilot. We create workflows. We show up on social media. We're going to be successes, not secrets, but we just don't have the wherewith to be all the places all the time. But we have a clone that can.
Mm. So, if this conversation lit something up in you, especially that quiet moment of, wait, I've been moving fast, but I haven't been moving protected, I want you to take that seriously and I want you to take action without panic because this is the truth. AI can absolutely help you grow, but the leaders who win in this era are the ones who build with standards, not shortcuts. Shevelle is the kind of expert who helps you do that. Clear, powerful, practical, and legally grounded. So here's what to do next. Make sure you're inside the Global Cash Summit VIP experience so you can go deeper into implementation and protect what you're building as you scale. And stay close to Chevelle's sessions and resources, because this is one of those topics that doesn't just increase your profit, it protects your peace. Shevelle, thank you for your brilliance, your clarity, and the way you are leading in this new era.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. This is not just, this has become my passion because because I'm using it, I'm loving it, and I see the impact that it can have on everyone who touches AI.
Yeah, and to everyone watching, keep building, keep scaling, but do it with structure, with integrity, and with confidence. I'll see you in the next Global Cash Summit session.